This is the voice of the New York Football Giants, Bob Papa, and you are listening to the best throughout Europe, the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. As always, we are proudly in association with Annie's Man Club. Let's remember, it is okay to talk. And tonight, we are 100% British. But as ever, we are still 100% Giants. And welcome back to the latest therapy session. And be warned, there may be a fair few expletives on the show this evening. Boys, 48 hours on from that show. We'll call it a show for now. How are we doing?
Still partially recovering, but not from a hungover perspective, but more of a devastation perspective after what happened. I think anything that could have gone wrong did go wrong in a way. Weirdly, we were still competitive, I guess, with the limited resources that we had. But, when you're playing against 11 men and then an additional number of people who look like zebras, it doesn't really help.
Aaron, how you doing? Aaron's giving us a silent treatment. I think that's a sign that he's maybe in mourning. He's no words for it. No words. Dylan, no excuse. enjoy the Great British Bake Off. Just like I said, that hangover from, like, not actually like physical hangover, just that sort of like, just the hangover from the game, and yeah, I think I agree with you. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and it's just one of those games that you just want to forget about. It's one you'd love to have back. You'd love to sort of go back 48 hours and replay the game, right? And have not necessarily a different outcome, but a few of the things along the way to be different. But we are where we are. We're 2-6 as it stands on the season, and we're going to get into the game very shortly. And like I said, there may be a fair few expletives along the way. But there was. It's not all doom and gloom. There were a few positives from the game, if you can sort of read between the lines, because on the face of it, obviously, the 38-20 scoreline is kind of a very one-sided scoreline. But there were a few positives throughout the game. If you are watching live on YouTube, X, or Facebook, get involved in the comments. Send us your thoughts on the game. Is the tush push on its way out? Is Nick Sirianni still the biggest prick in the league? Let us know. Get involved. I don't think there's any doubt that he's not the biggest prick in the league. Don't forget to like this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. If you haven't, there's no excuse. And also feel free to leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. Aaron, can you mime how many stars we deserve? There we go, 5 stars on your podcast review, on your podcast platform of choice. Get the words out. Before we get into the game, though, as Aaron is, we are all sort of a little bit sort of subdued, in a little bit of mourning. I would just like to take a moment of silence in remembrance of Cam Scatterboo's rookie year. He brought so much passion and energy to this team. It was infectious, and the likes of that we haven't seen for many years on this team. So a brief moment of silence for Cam Scatterboo's rookie year, gents. Here's wishing Scat a speedy recovery, and we hope to see 44 back on the field at the start of 2026. Fingers crossed, touch wood, and all that malarkey. I suppose we can only really do one thing, and that is get into the game. So, Craig, over to you for the roundup. The overview? The
Post-mortem.
post-mortem. Let's go with that. Post-mortem. Go.
Where do you start? I mean,
Is it on the table? Is it
where-
cold?
where-
Is it hot?
Easy. I don't even know where to start with this one. Like, there's so many talking points, and in one sense, I just want to go fucking apoplectic with how I feel. But on another side, I'm just kind of tired of not of us being bad in a way, because we are, and as Bobby Skinner rightly pointed out, since 2016 we've had one season where we haven't started 2-6 or 1-7. But I'm just tired of the fact that the Giants can't have nice things. Like, we're just not allowed nice things. I guess before I kind of get into anything, let's start off with the most positive news out of everything. And let's just thank everyone that turned up to that meetup on Sunday. Kev said at one point he counted 40 people. Those 40 people did include a small number, 4 or 5 Eagles fans, and a Commanders fan who was randomly in there. But I think he's been to a few of our meetups, and he's an all right lad.
He's been to the two we had at Marylebone like over the last couple of seasons. He's a top guy. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, sound guy. But yeah, just a thank you to everyone that turned up. Like I said, around 40 people, which is by far the best turnout we've had. And I don't think it was just the best turnout we've had, but also I think it's the best meetup we've had despite the result. The venue, I mean, we've got to give a shout out to the staff at Belushi's, and Hamish, the sort of manager of Belushi's London Bridge. They set us up with a private room that was set up perfectly. There was a few reserve tables in there, but it was a private room. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think there was probably about 10 TVs in there with the Giants game on. We had one TV with Red Zone on as well. The service was amazing.
Typically, Red Zone was ahead of the live stream of the game.
Yeah. Of course it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the staff in there were incredible. The waiting staff, they were in and out constantly with drinks and food and taking people's orders. The food itself was absolutely amazing. Just really, really good food. I had one of their game day platters. Dan, I know you said you had a burger that was great. Aaron, you were talking about the nachos and stuff earlier. But just everything
Let's not forget as well. Keith had a popcorn pina colada.
He did have a popcorn pina colada, which completely blew my mind.
Yeah.
But yes, we will happily use them for future meetups, and probably will next season. I'm sure we will have another one with them. And if you are just going, or if you're just in London and you're looking for somewhere to watch the game, highly recommend it. It's in a really good location, close to Waterloo. It's right by Borough Market as well, which we went into, so you can always make a day of it. Yeah, just really, really good. And then just a massive thank you to everyone who turned up. Our regulars who were in the chat were there. We had Ryan Disdeer, who's been over in the UK for a few years. People know him on X quite well. We had just a complete myriad of new faces and old faces, even people who didn't know, about the podcast were there. And it was great, but that's the good bit out of the way. So yes, the Giants lost. Yes, it was 20-38. Yes, it sucks. After a couple of days of thinking about it, though, I do think that there were a few positive bits in a way, but there are lots of negatives. The biggest thing for me, now that I kind of look back on it, is these are the sort of games where what happened to Cam happens, and we just roll over and just give up. And I don't feel like we rolled over. I don't feel like we were helped in a way. And I'm going to get into that in a second because I'm going to have a little rant. But I don't think that for certain players and certain aspects of our game, I don't think there was a lack of effort. I think some players there were, and on certain plays there were. But as a holistic look at the Giants, I don't think there was a lack of effort after that Scatterboo injury. I'm not going to touch on the offense or defense. I'm going to leave that to you two guys. But and also I feel like Aaron needs to talk about the injury himself, just as a bit of personal therapy to come out of his shell a little bit more. But I am going to look at the men in black and white. And on reflection, as angry as I was Sunday night, I've come to the conclusion we didn't lose this game because of the refs. Not because of the refs. They played a part, but I think no matter what happens, we probably still lose this game because there are performances from some of our players that just is unacceptable. But they had a hell of a part to play in it. They really did. And I'm going to look at what I think are arguably the two biggest ones, the tush push and then the OPI DPI mix between Corey Black and Darius Slayton. The first thing I'm going to say is fucking forward progress, my ass. Jalen Hurts was still reaching his arm out as Tibbs ripped that ball from his hands. The ruling of forward progress killed the opportunity of a challenge or an overturn because it's unreviewable. How many times is it that they have been told in normal circumstances with a fumble, let the play out and you can review it, and if it's wrong, you just reverse it? How can you rule forward progress on a play that if that's on the goal line, the Eagles are afforded 6 seconds to get 8 men behind the ball, grab both cheeks of fucking Jalen Hurts' arse and push him forward over the goal line? How is that allowed? But we're not allowed to take the ball away from him when he's still on top of the pile, he's not down by contact, and he's moving forward because he's got somebody working him like a puppet from behind. I mean, I just... Sorry, Dan. It really...
Hand puppet?
A hand puppet, exactly. It really has pissed me off, this one. And the only saving grace behind what happened on Sunday is that play will be played in the obituary at the end of the season when they deem that this is not an NFL play and they kill it for good. And that's the only saving grace over what happened, because it's bullshit. If that's on the goal line, they're given as much time as they want. And people can turn around and say, "Oh, but Jalen Hurts was over the line to gain on third down." Challenge it then.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni, challenge it if that's the point. That's why you've got a challenge flag. If you don't think that the spot's right, challenge it. Don't turn around to me and tell me that the tush push in all its bullshitteriness was allowed because you got the first down on the previous play. Challenge it. Because the play-by-play says 4th down.
Yeah, there's no glory about that play.
No. The next one is kind of related to each other, so I kind of could go into a bit more detail on it. Corey Black DPI. Let's start with that one. So you've got 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Corey Black is called up for defensive pass interference on Cooper. They're both hand fighting. Cooper throws Corey Black to the floor. Corey Black grabs him on the way down, and it's defensive pass interference. And then what happens is you go, okay, you've set the precedence. You have now said what is DPI and what is not OPI. You can hand fight. You can push a defender to the ground. It's not OPI, but if that defender grabs you on the way down, it's DPI. Okay, that's fine. You've set the precedence. You roll with that. Other units will call it differently, but this is what you have decided. So then when we go to 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter and Quinion Mitchell and Darius Slayton are hand fighting and Quinion Mitchell grabs Darius Slayton's hand, and then as Darius Slayton bats him away, he then grabs Slayton's jersey. It's offensive pass interference, which takes away a 68-yard touchdown. Just make it make sense. I don't understand how, with the focus that's on sports in America because of what's happening with the NBA and the betting scandal, that can't be investigated. That you can have a group of referees call 2 different plays, and both times the outcome it benefits one team and doesn't benefit the other, because it can't be anything more than it's either cheating or it's incompetence. And if it's incompetence, the NFL need to do something, because it's not just our game. And I'm not even talking about the other ones. They're just the big ones. We haven't mentioned the fact that Thibodeau got called for a neutral zone infraction when Mailata clearly flinches.
It's so bad.
We haven't talked about the fact that Wan'Dale Robinson is called for a push in the back on a run that doesn't get us a first down, but it leaves us with a 3rd and 1. But when you look at it closely, the defender's diving to try and tackle Tyrone Tracy, and Wan'Dale's arm just happens to be generally in the vicinity. Like, they're bullshit calls, and they're simple calls that are fucking teams over. I was reading that there's a really good article on Giants Wire, and Giants Wire is a bit of point of contention for me, because they've had to do an EU thing with their website that means it's not quite as user friendly and not quite as detailed as it used to be. Back when you could look at the American site, but they did the maths on all of it, and the Eagles got plus 25 net yards and 10 points off of decisions, whereas the Giants were rewarded with minus 84 net yards and minus 7 points. So it's just, it's a 17-point swing-ish. They still beat us by 1. Even with the 17-point swing, they still beat us by 1.
But the game's a lot closer.
Yeah, but we're also not even talking about the fact that Abdul Carter's held on pretty much every snap. Tibbs was held. Burns was held. Dex is probably being held. Darius Alexander definitely was held on one of the runs. And I'll hold my hands up. They missed holds on the Giants offense as well. The Giants offensive line held the Eagles defenders at times, and they don't call them. The NFL's officiating is becoming such a problem because everything is no longer, weirdly, pun intended, black and white. It's all subjective to the crew that's on the field. And because it's become subjective, different games are being called differently. And a lot of these bigger teams now are getting the decisions. And we're not a big team, but we won't get those decisions. It's just the crux of the matter. So, Aaron, I'll come to you first. Which is more infuriating, the tush push or the OPI?
I think probably the tush push, but they're both ridiculously bad calls. The OPI is made worse in the context of the DPI call and Corey Black. That's like, you can't. These both cannot be going against the Giants. That either they're both OPI, or they're both DPI, or they're probably no flag at all. I would say that probably the Corey Black one should have been no flag, and the Slayton one was probably a DPI, but you could have not called it, let it be a touchdown, and see what you want to do with that one. The tush push one is the most ridiculous, and it's exposed probably the worst rule in football. So the idea of forward progress is basically a made up bullshit decision about how the refs can spot the ball at any point in the game. Forget whether it's a first down and a fumble and this, that, and the other. The refs can decide when forward progress is given. So I think I saw it on another game where they end up clearly in the end zone, but the progress is stopped. Then the O-line come and pile in on the goal line, and they end up 4 yards in the end zone. And the ref rules, well, I decided that forward progress was stopped at the half-yard line. So it all went back to the half-yard line, even though the running back ended up in the end zone, 4 yards in the end zone. It's a completely bullshit system. And and it's unreviewable in any way. So it's literally that ref on the field's decision. And so even when we talk about whether we need an investigation, right? It doesn't even need the whole crew to be investigated. It is literally that one referee making that decision. It happened to be the same referee that called the DPI call and the OPI call as well, right? So it's all that same referee that made those calls.
Someone needs to look into his betting patterns.
Yeah, and probably the same referee was the Kayvon false start as well. It's the same location. So it's those errors that really swing it out. Now we've seen the tush push be refed continually badly. With even on the play that with the fumble and by Thibodeau, there's a false start on the right guard that wasn't called.
Every time there's pretty much a false start.
And it wasn't even like a, oh, did he? You could fucking see it on the TV that he moved.
Yeah. So I think if, the best reason to ban that play is the refs can't ref it properly, right? That's not necessarily a knock on the Eagles play design or however they run it. If the refs cannot ref that play correctly, then we can't have that play in football.
No,
right?
No.
Because there is no the reaching the ball forward on a goal line. The reason why you can do it as a player is if it breaks, as soon as it breaks the play is over. So you don't have to have your progress stopped to have a successful play. So as you reach out with the ball, as soon as it's across the plane, doesn't matter if it gets knocked out of your hands because the play's dead the second you cross the plane. When you cross a first down line, it's not the same. So as he's never had his progress stopped in that whole time until Kayvon has his hands on the ball, right? So you cannot rule forward progress. If you were allowed to review that play, you could have reviewed it and seen, well, actually his progress was never stopped until the ball was removed. And therefore, it should be a Giants first down. And, that's the score on that drive. That's where you get your 7 of your 10. The Corey Black DPI, that drive ends in a field goal. That was a third down play. So if that's a goal, they're out of field goal range. They're out of real fourth down, go for it range. So that's the 3 there. And then obviously the Slayton one, we can say it's -7, but in that scenario, if you're down 8, you're going to go for 2. So it could have been an 18-point swing in that scenario to bring it back to the game.
True.
So now, having said that, we weren't good enough to win the game.
No.
Head-to-head there. We would still probably lost it on a field goal and as time expired or But we're not good enough at the moment to overcome that kind of deficit. A few teams are, to be fair, but we were 7.5-point underdogs, right? We cover easily without the referee fucking decisions.
Yeah, 100%. And we're obviously subjectively biased here because we're a Giants podcast. But you've got to say, even was it a fumble, wasn't it a fumble with Jackson Dart, I don't think it should have been overturned, personally. I don't think the fumble's the right call, but I think it's way too close to be overturned. So the fact that they overturned it almost seemed like buyer's remorse, if you know what I'm kind of getting at, in the terms of
we'll give you that one back.
We'll give you that one back because otherwise Brian Dable's going to come on and nut one of us. Because it's
like in football when a team gets a really contentious penalty given to them, and it's like 20 minutes later the other team get a penalty given to them. It's almost like, what have you seen there? But it's like, you can have that one, we'll let you, sort of thing, isn't it?
This isn't me saying that Brian Dable is given a pass for this game in any way, but I'll give credit where credit's due. There is nothing better than seeing Brian Dable know that he cannot challenge forward progress, but can challenge the spot of the ball, knowing full well he's not going to win it, and just throw the challenge flag down in anger and say, I watch that play again. You now need to go and watch that play again, and you can see where you fucked up. I want you to watch it. Like, it's probably the best. I think like Bobby said it earlier on Giants Nation show. It's probably the best angry challenge he's ever seen by a coach, and he doesn't hate it. So,
I rate it. I rate it too, though. I rate it.
Yes, that's enough of my ranting about the officials. Just some breaking news that's been given to me by Brian from the Irish NFL show via Tom Pelissero, who's actually done the tweet here. But the Giants have claimed cornerback Jarek Bernard Converse, what's her name, off waivers from Cleveland.
Oh.
Apparently,
I mean, we'll talk about corner and defense shortly.
Yeah,
God knows we need that help.
Yeah, it's a new name to me, so I will try and get some information on him before we sign off, and also some news that Malik Neighbours has undergone the surgery on the ACL today as well. So they were waiting for him for all the swelling to go down and for him to sort of start the rehab, which seems to be the done thing now for ACL surgery. So yeah.
Nice.
I'll leave it to you and I'll do some research.
Sweet. I mean, yeah, I've not really got anything to add on what you boys have both said on that, apart from if you watch that one play, the tush pushback, and you listen to it, it's 2 or 3 seconds after that play is over that the whistle's blown. Thibodeau's got the ball in his hands. He's on top of the ball, and that's when the whistle's blown. That's when it's called dead. You're telling me that it's called dead because of forward progress? Fuck off, man. Just fuck off. That's what I'm going to say on the matter, because I I'm kind of fed up of just bullshit going against us, and like you said, Craig, never having nice things. And it's just another one of those things that we kind of learn to expect, unfortunately, because we're a bad team and we get bad calls against us. So, Aaron, offense. But first of all, how you doing?
Yeah, good.
Sure.
So, yeah, I didn't really know where to go with this one. Obviously, we all watched the game. We had a reasonable time on offense, but I thought I'd just talk a bit more about Jackson Dart, not just for this game, but his first 5 games as a starter for the Giants. Just so some numbers off the top. It's 984 passing yards with 8 passing TDs and 3 interceptions. 195 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. So 1,179 total yards and 12 touchdowns across his 5 games. If you roll it out to a 17 game season, you get to 4,000 total yards, 41 TDs, and 10 interceptions. Comparisons for his first 5 games, it's almost identical to Justin Herbert, who maybe has underperformed in terms of his results in his career, but I think everyone fully sees him as a decent starting quarterback in the league. So if we've achieved that with our kind of back into the first round trade, I think he's showing a lot of promise for where he is at this stage in his career.
Well, Justin Herbert does lead the league in passing yards at the moment. So
yeah, and I think if we see the 5 sacks. I think this was the first game that we really saw him hold the ball a little bit longer than we would like. We wanted to throw some of these away. He did throw one away, and the refs decided to throw a grounding call, even though he threw it at the feet of his receiver. So, what's that about? But if you add in, he went for 4 of 24 for 193. But if you add in the bullshit OPI as a completion, it should have been 15 for 25 for 250 and 2 touchdowns. If my QB goes 15 for 25, 250 and 2 touchdowns, I'm not going to be upset with the QB's performance in any way. Season low for him on rushing yards. It was a season low for the Giants as a whole on rushing yards. What we're seeing from Mahomes, from Dart, is occasionally a Mahomesian style play. So the play that highlights this is his ability to evade. So he rolls out to the left. There's nobody open. He buys some more time and hits Wandale deep down the sideline for some yards. And if I'm not talking about the player Mahomes is today. If you go back to first season Mahomes, so it's his second season in the NFL, but first full season starting. What he's really done is that average depth for target is really improved for our guys. So if you look at the wide receivers and their average per catch, right? So we had Theo Johnson and Tyrone Tracy as 7 yards average per catch, but Wandale was at 16 yards per catch, Slayton at 13, Bo Collins 18, Scatterboo 18, Bellinger 21, Singletary 28. We're really pushing that down the field approach. Obviously, Singletary's was more of a screen, but that down the field yardage that we were seeing, where we were getting kind of A dots of sort of 5 or 6 with Daniel Jones on the center and the offense that we were running. These statistics, he's doing it all without his number 1 receiver. He's done it without his number 2 receiver for 2 of the games. He's done it now without his best mate at running back. Obviously, we still got the Cam Scatterboo touchdown early on. Cam went 3 rushes for 12 yards, so an average of 4 a carry, which we'll always take. And then 1 reception for 18 yards. Bringing his season total against the Eagles to 4 touchdowns. When we had a giant that we can say he scored 4 touchdowns against the Eagles. But sadly, the devastating injury, which he's now had surgery and will be out for the rest of the season, and hopefully no longer than that. It was a bad ankle injury on what some people have speculated is one of these hip drop tackles. Another point that didn't come up from the refs and didn't want to.
For me, just want to add on that. For me, it's not even speculating, because if you watch that back, how is that not a hip drop tackle?
Yeah.
And how is that flag not thrown?
Yeah. And to be honest, I don't want a penalty on it. I just want them not to injure the
Yeah,
the
that's
guy.
obviously the main thing of it. It's clearly it's a dangerous tackle, and it's look at the damage it's caused. But
yeah,
it just frustrates you even more why it wasn't called.
Yeah, everyone in the NFL is at a loss with this type of injury. It's a fact of the game. Players get injured. We lose some of the best players every year through injury. I know Good Morning Football, they had the sad ballad on Angry Runs today because of the love that Cam Scatterboo's brought that segment, or the love they brought for Cam Scatterboo in that segment. It's definitely, he's brought more than just his statistics on the field to the team, his attitude, the fact that he brings the Ric Flair woo every time he comes onto the field at training camp, and that's infectious when you've got a guy around you. I think they're referred to as a complete nutcase. But sometimes you need someone on a team just to G everyone up, and I think we're going to miss that in the locker room. He's got a long road back to him. We're going to have him and neighbours may become best mates on the treatment room table over this off season, and by they're both working their way back to full strength. But yeah, really, really frustrating from that thing. But I guess I'll ask you, Dan, first. Jackson Dart and his first 5 games. How are you feeling? Do we think we have a long-term answer at QB?
Yes. Everything I've seen of him so far fills me with confidence. Yes, he's made mistakes. Rookie quarterbacks make mistakes. Yes, he's got a lot to learn. In terms of the fact to just maybe slide every now and again. rather than run headfirst into attack. Or maybe he's taken too much off of Cam Scatterboo a little bit. But for the vast majority of everything I've seen of him so far, it fills me with hope and with positivity because, like you, I mean, I know you compared him to Patrick Mahomes in his first full season in the league, and that's kind of exactly what I see as well. Is I see that very mobile, get out of the way, be able to evade pressure, be able to just extend a play that we've not seen for so long. And yes, he needs to get rid of the ball quicker sometimes. Yes, obviously took 5 sacks in this game. But when you look at the sacks he's actually taken, he's only lost 58 yards on the sacks he's taken. And he's taken 17 so far this season. So only losing 58 yards across 17 sacks is only losing 3 yards per sack. You look at somebody like, we said, Justin Herbert, who at the moment is leading the league in passing yards. He's taken 22 sacks this season, and he's lost hundreds of yards. So it's almost like it's a sack, but it's like it's a 1 or 2 yard sack. It's not a 10 or 15 yard sack because he's just not getting rid of the ball and he's just trying to run and scramble. He's actually looking downfield and trying to gain something positive out of what could be a sticky situation. So I think he's always looking forward. He's never if he's running sort of backwards, he's always turning his head, looking around, looking to see where his receivers are. And everything I've seen of him so far, I just think he is our future. I know, like, again, the whole sort of Giants bias, rose tinted glasses and all that. What have we had over the last 6 years is poor quarterback play. What we've seen over the last 5 games is anything but poor quarterback play. It's showing that this guy has that. He has that edge. He has that. What do they call that? That moxie. That just brings that energy. Again, with Camazot, brings that energy. And like I said on here a couple of weeks ago, with Travis and Jason Kelsey, like talking about him on the New Heights podcast, and talking about Cam Scatterby on the new. The energy they bring is infectious. It just makes you want to watch the Giants. And so, like I said, in long answer, I know, but in all honesty, I think he's the future, and I'm glad he's there. Whether he brings us a Lombardi in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, who knows? But I think for him, the sky's the limit at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the key point, right? We're not saying he is league MVP like Mahomes now.
No.
He's got traits that Mahomes has. He's still a rookie. He needs to work on his game, right? I like his aggressiveness, like take that downfield. But there are times where there's an underneath guy that's an easier throw that's completion. I think he's also been told to look for the throw rather than take off and run, because the first week or two he was running a lot more. This week it was noticeable. There was a few times where he could have probably run for a first down, and he's looking for the throw still, and you're thinking, "Oh, just take that one, take that one down, and run for it." Craig, what do you think? How's your very quick assessment of Dart's first start?
I think the biggest problem that we've been saying, and we were kind of screaming this at the TV on Sunday night, is that hero ball where he's holding onto the ball for too long. I think that, am I right in remembering that there was a play where he held onto the ball for 9 seconds? I'm pretty sure they timed it on the screen of 9 seconds.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. We can say about this hero ball and holding onto the ball too long and everything. Every rookie quarterback does it.
Yep.
In that first year in the league, they kind of misunderstand sometimes how long they have to throw, and they just kind of get into that college rhythm of, oh, okay, I'm going to have time, and it slowly is kind of coached out of them. The biggest thing for me, though, is I was having a look at Dart's, because it's 5 starts now, isn't it, for Jackson? And I was just looking and comparing those 5 starts to maybe some of the quarterbacks who are still in the league and what their rookie season, like what their first 5 starts were. So you have a look at Herbert, Stroud, Hurts, Lamar, and then Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart has more rushing touchdowns than any of them. He leads that with 4. He has 8 passing touchdowns, which is only bettered by Justin Herbert, who had 12 in his first 5 starts.
And he's a gunslinger anyway.
And he's a gunslinger. His 3 interceptions are exactly the same as what Herbert threw and exactly the same as what Lamar Jackson had thrown. His quarterback rating is better than Jackson and Hurts. His rushing yards are less than Hurts and Jackson, but I think a lot of teams are starting to scheme against what Dart's able to do. And his 3 wins in his first 5 games is only bettered by Lamar, who had 4. So I think you can look at that and look at the kind of standing of those other quarterbacks and look at where we are with Jackson Dart, and we're bang on at the moment. We're absolutely bang on that kind of area. And you look at some of the other quarterbacks that have started this year, Cam Ward struggling in Tennessee. Tyler Shuck is now coming in because Spencer Rattler has been struggling. I mean, Tyler Shuck's not really a rookie in the kind of age bracket, but you know, Dylan Gabriel's really struggled. I know he was drafted a lot later than Dart was, but
yeah, I think you know, 1 point, Dart is a young end of the rookie QB aspect. He's not one of these super seniors that's coming in as well, so he's got plenty of growth there. Just to round out offense, just a couple of points. Quick fire. So just to kind of emphasize how well Dart's doing, if you look at the catch percentage of his receivers, so out of 179 eligible players, you've got Jalen Hyatt and Bo Collins at 175th out of 179 with a 33% catch rate. Little Jordan Humphrey at a 40% catch rate, so that's 172nd. Darius Slayton at a 60.8% catch rate, that's 104th. And Wandale Robinson is 66.67, and so that's 75th. So you know, no receiver in the top 75 of catch rate out of the thing. And then if you take that over to tight ends, Theo Johnson, I have 119 tight ends. Theo Johnson is 79th. And kind of the player I wanted to call out just from his performance over the last couple of weeks, Daniel Bellinger is 17th at 91.67. So I think Daniel Bellinger, what we've seen from him is, I think he's a complete tight end. He's maybe doesn't have the true explosion, but because he can block and he can catch, and he catches nearly everything thrown his way, he can be a real threat and make the defense don't know whether they need to keep a guy in to cover him, whether he's going to block. He really is a difference maker. Whereas obviously with Theo, we're not really going to ask him to block. Manhurts, we're not going to ask him to be a receiver. I think Daniel Bellinger is doing a really good job at tight end. And then the final point on offensive line, just Andrew Thomas had his worst game of the season. He allowed 4 pressures this Sunday. That's more than he's allowed the rest of the season combined. However, you know, when your quarterback can hold the ball up to 9 seconds, just because you concede a pressure doesn't mean it's necessarily your fault. I just wanted to touch on kind of Andrew Thomas in his worst performance. But 4 pressures is still not too bad, given the state of the game, and we were trailing. Again, that complementary football discussion. You know, if you're trailing, you know the opponents know you're passing. They can send more exotic blitzes, these kind of things, and you can get there as well. So, yeah, just a little summary on the offense. Obviously, RIP rookie Cam Scatterboo. We've got the highlight tapes if we want a little pick me up, a little quiet session when we're alone. We can watch those highlights.
A quiet alone session. Interesting.
Just very quickly, Dan, before you jump in on defense, I just wanted to give a bit more context behind this signing of Jarek Bernard Converse.
Amazing.
25 years old. He is 6'1", 205. Played for Oklahoma State Cowboys and then LSU in 2022, and was a first team All Big 12 in 2021. Drafted in the 6th round by the Jets in 2023. He spent 2 years with the Jets. He was with the Browns earlier this year, but obviously they let go. He has appeared in 16 games, 4 total tackles, 3 of them solo, 1 assisted. That they are his only stats on there. He has played a couple of games in the preseason against the Eagles. He had 2 tackles, and against the Giants, he had 2 tackles. 2025. He has also appeared on special teams quite a lot. 30 snaps this year on special teams, 110 with the Jets last year, 101 the year before that. So predominantly a special teams man. 6 total tackles, 3 solo, 3 assisted. Predominantly in sort of kick coverage, punt coverage. So yeah, not a worldy signing, but bear in mind Art Green got injured at the weekend, so I can see that. Second of all, Tom Pelissero has said that the Giants have worked out a dozen players today, and one of them is wide receiver Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
Deontay Johnson, of Steelers fame, and many a team last season where he seemed to jump around a little bit. I think it was with the Ravens for a bit as well. But the Giants are obviously very, very interested in getting better wide receiver weapons with Cam. Obviously now out, he's going to need a bit more than what he's getting, which is a healthy dose of Wan'Dale Robinson, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly that. And hopefully, with Slayton now being back from injury as well, hopefully we can see a little bit more from him. But it's, remains to be seen. All right then, defense. Defense. Now, forgive me for sounding like a broken record, but is there any chance of seeing some sort of semblance of a run defense at any point this season, or with this defensive coordinator? Because what we saw on Sunday was anything but a run defense. 277 yards on the ground on 30 carries. That's not including kneel downs. 9.3 yards per attempt. Mind-blowing. We're giving up a first down on every damn run. How can you even begin to expect to win a game when you're giving up almost 10 yards a carry on the ground? And not just that, but you've got one of the best running backs in the league on the opposing side. One of the best running backs in the league that we know all too well on the opposing side. You know what he's capable of. And what happens? Second play from scrimmage, 65-yard touchdown. And then from that point on, you're chasing the game. Incredibly, that was their only rushing touchdown of the game. With 277 yards on the ground, you'd expect them to have 6. But 150 yards on 14 carries by Judas. 10.7 yards per attempt. And even more incredibly, when he was rested in the fourth quarter because they didn't need to have him on the field, Tank Bigsby comes in, the backup, and he runs for 104 yards on 9 carries. 11.6 yards per attempt. I'm sorry, what sort of fucking run defense is this, Shane Bowen?
And including a 32-yard run on a 2nd and 31.
There we go. There we go. Make it make sense. And that was probably that summed the game up entirely for me. That one play, first down, 20-yard sack, and then 2nd and 31, hand the ball off to Tank Bigsby. 32 yards later, it's a first down. Come on. The most rushing yards given up by a single team in a game this season in the league by a comfortable margin. And not just that, it's the most rushing yards given up by the Giants in a single game since we gave up 350 on the ground to the Seattle Seahawks back in 2014. The most rushing yards we've given up in a game in 11 years. And the second most rushing yards we've given up in a single game this century. since the turn of the century. In 25 seasons, this is the second most rushing yards given up in a game. I could go on. We've now got the 30th ranked run defense in the league. Surprisingly, it's not last, giving up almost 150 yards on average per game. And simply put, that is an embarrassment. And a big contributor to that was, yet again, missed tackles, which seemed to just rear its ugly head at the worst of times. Darius Musa had 4 himself. One of those was on Judas's little run down the sideline for 65 yards to start the game. And here's a stat for you as well. Tyler Nubin took his total to the season to 11. 11 missed tackles across the season, across 8 games. He's got the highest missed tackle rate amongst all starting safeties in the league at 21.2%. Sort the tackling out, because I'm sorry, that's just god awful. Whatever way you look at it, it's 2 words: dog shit. Dog shit defense. You can't win a game with defense like that. And surprisingly, with Dex, normally we'd say, Dex is on the field, we're going to give up a big run. Didn't really make much of an impact this game. He's usually a difference maker in the run game, but there wasn't much of he didn't make much of a difference. Grady just 34 according to PFF in a run game, in run defense, which was a little bit of a surprise. And that got me thinking as well, and I was talking to Shane about it earlier as well. Dex just hasn't been sort of the Dex we're used to this season. But why do you think he's struggling so much to make an impact this year so far, Craig?
I don't know. I mean, Carl Banks called it out the other day, didn't he? On Believe, he said, Dex, they don't respect you. They don't respect you anymore. And he's talking about, obviously, the opposing players, not us. We still respect him.
Yeah.
But Dex, they don't respect you anymore. He's being double teamed a lot, but he was always being double teamed, and he was able to get the pressures. I don't know if this injury is hampering him. I don't know if being a new dad is doing that. Obviously, he was ill. He picked up an illness. I don't know if that's doing something. I don't know if it's the scheme. I don't know what the numbers are now, so I will hold my hands up and say that this might be a big pile of bullshit. But I'm pretty sure a couple of weeks ago I saw that there was a stat that said he was lining up at nose tackle at the lowest rate he had for the past 3 seasons. So that it's a multitude of factors. I do think that injury is still affecting him, and we saw that with Andrew Thomas, with his injury affecting him at the beginning of last season. Before obviously he then went down, and they gave him that extra time at the beginning of the season that I don't think Dex was afforded. But there's definitely something up, especially when you've got players like Roy Robertson-Harris and Darius Alexander who's coming in and both making plays against the same defense that Dex is lined up across from. So I'm not sure. The biggest problem is when you have somebody like that and as dominant as Dexter Lawrence, you can't carry him as a passenger. And that's the biggest problem we've got at the moment.
Yeah, because, I think back to, again, the likes of Aaron Donald, and I think, how incredible he was across so many years for the Rams. And obviously we've seen what Dex is capable of doing, and it's like, this year, it almost just seems like a bit of a down year for him, and I can't really put my finger on it. What do you reckon, Aaron?
So, I do wonder how much his injury is still bothering him. Obviously, he's wearing the kind of bionicle arm on him, and then I wonder how much, again, scheme comes into this sometimes. I don't know if he is really all that off. Brian Burns leads the league in sacks with 10.
Yeah.
And some of Burns' success is attributed to Dex taking a double team nearly every single play.
Mhm.
So, yes, he isn't having the kind of all world
Stats.
season he was having last season, but my God, don't we look worse when he's not out there? And
I mean, granted.
yeah, so I think maybe he's not having his absolute best. Maybe he's carrying a little bit of injury. I'm sure we'll find out after the season how much that injury was bothering him. If it is, don't expect to hear it during the season. But yeah, we're I I wouldn't be surprised if next season he's back on form. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Dex.
Yeah, and you obviously mentioned about giving Andrew Thomas that little bit more time. Like, do you think we're like at the stage of the season now where we can go, actually, you know what, Dex, just take a little bit of a break, maybe do a little bit more rehab, and just sort of so you feel a bit more comfortable with that elbow, or do you think no, we still need to just have him on the field every game and have his presence alone. Obviously, it's attracted double teams on almost every snap, really.
Yeah, I think you keep playing him. I'd love to say we should just wrap all our players up in cotton wool, and we're 2-6. Let's get Shane's train out and get all aboard and wrap all the players up in cotton wool. But these guys want to play football. There's only so many games in their career, right? Like
exactly that.
Brian Burns fought through ridiculous injuries last year to play every game. Despite being, in a season where we could have shut him down. I think, obviously Dex was shut down last season as well. So it was like, I'm sure these guys just want to play.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And another problem, we're talking about injuries, another problem we have at the moment on defence is injuries. Obviously, didn't have Paulson Adebo in this game, didn't have Javon Holland in this game. Therefore, Tay Banks and Dane Belton left to fill the gaps. Now, Dane Belton has had a couple of good games, I'll admit. He had a fairly solid game against the Eagles. But Tay Banks is beyond any doubt. It's proven beyond any doubt why he lost the cornerback battle to Cordell Flott in camp, because he is awful in coverage. Now, his rookie season at this point, I think, was maybe a fluke, and he looked better than he actually was. But he just can't cover any receiver for shit. And then, lo and behold, throw in a fucking concussion to the de facto CB1 in this game, who's Cordell Flott, thanks to Bobby Okereke. And we're left with Banks and Corey Black, who we just re-signed to finish the game. And lo and behold, Jalen Hurts takes advantage of that and takes the piss and throws for 4 touchdown passes. 2 of them, so you guessed it, tight end Dallas Goedert. Why can we not defend a tight end? It's just one of those things. There are a few highlights, so don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom, like I said. Burns got his 10th tackle of the season, ties the league lead with Myles Garrett. He had 5 in one game. Ridiculous. And the pass rush as a whole was fairly good. We put Jalen Hurts under pressure, 4 sacks, a quarterback hit, 15 hurries across the game as well. So the pass rush is there. That's not been a problem really all season. We didn't make it easy for Jalen Hurts. He was just efficient. 15 and 20, 179 yards, and those 4 touchdown passes. Kayvon Thibodeau had one of his best games of the season, finished with the best PFF grade on the team in both overall and run defense as well. Lastly, Shane's boy, his jersey's over my shoulder, Abdul Carter, continues to show why we drafted him 3rd overall in April. Another solid showing from him as well. So, again, the defense in front is solid. Nacho had his first sack of the season as well. Fantastic. And it's just a shame it didn't equate to more, because there's so many other holes in that defense. And those holes, and I think, were very, very clear to see on Sunday. The distinct lack of depth in the secondary outside of those top 5, Adebo, Flott, Holland, Nubin and Phillips. The talent level almost drops off a cliff after them. And I think it's safe to say at this point, Tay Banks is playing himself out of a second contract, because why in God's name would you re-sign this cornerback at this point in his career? Because he's just playing awful. He really is. But I'll leave you with this, though. According to ESPN.com, when Shane Bowen was hired as defensive coordinator last year, the article they posted stated, and I quote, Bowen's defenses are known for their physicality and effectiveness against the run, areas where the Giants have struggled in previous seasons. Now make of that what you will, but through 1.5 seasons with Shane Bowen as a defense coordinator, where is the effectiveness against the run? And if I miss tackles or anything to go by, where is this physicality we're talking about? Because I don't see either of them two things. I don't see, well, balloons. We're not celebrating, fuck off. The fact that our run game has been consistently fucking awful over the past season and a half. Our run defense, sorry, has been fucking awful over the last season and a half. And our missed tackles, again, just seem to be just an issue with this team. I mean, and it just really grinds my gears when you get things like this. And I read back earlier and thought, like, why did we hire Shane Bowen as our defensive coordinator? And you read bullshit like this. We haven't seen any of that on the field in the year and a half we've had him as defense coordinator. So I'm sorry, that's a load of shit at this point. And I think someone said it in the comments as well. It's almost like Shane Bowen's trying to get himself fired. I mean, prove that wrong. You know, you've got 9 games left this season. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong, Shane Bowen. But yeah, just an all-round shit show on defense, really.
Yeah, I don't think there's
just
much.
Says, no,
there's not much. There's not much more you can add to it. It's just
no.
It's just poor. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, and the thing is, the not frustrating thing as well is we were starting to see some sort of better run defense over the past few weeks, and now all of a sudden it just goes to shit. And we have one of the worst games on run defense we've had in this century.
And we are top 3 in the league in forcing opponents into first and second and 11 plus yardage. So we're doing really well at times on generating negative plays on first down, essentially, putting them into long positions. Yet we are worst in the league by a considerable margin. 60% of the time, opponents are converting from a second and 11 plus, as exemplified by the second and 31. That's a scheme problem, right?
Yeah.
If you're getting your opponents into long yardage situations, or not third and long necessarily, but into second and 11 plus, and still giving up the first downs, this is a scheme problem. I bang the drum about Bowen. People keep coming out trying to say, "Oh, we don't run this off coverage, this, that, and the other." He's super conservative once we get ahead of the sticks, once we're ahead in the game, and it just prevents us from winning. The prevent defense.
Yeah, we've spoken about this before as well, and I think it was you, Craig, on Sunday said, like, imagine this defense, but with Wink Martindale as the defensive coordinator still.
I don't think it was me. I think it was probably Shane. I know Shane's been.
Yes, it was Shane. Apologies. Yeah,
Shane's
imagine this defense.
Vocal about that.
Imagine this defense with Wink still as the DC. It would be no doubt a whole different ball game. And on that note, that is unfortunately all we have time for this evening. We'll be back on Thursday night at the usual time to preview this weekend's game against the San Francisco 49ers, hot off their loss to the Houston Texans. So, someone's fortunes have got to change at this point. So make sure you tune in then. Anything else to add before we go, guys?
No, yet another therapy session out of the way, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come for the rest of the season. I'm just trying to, think about our upcoming games and where we can pick up wins, and I just can't see there being many opportunities. I just like us to be competitive, and obviously it does look like by the fact that there are some workouts going on that we are looking to add something which is good. I did just read the corresponding move to Mr. Converse, as I'm going to call him, because I can't remember his name already,
Mr.
was
Converse.
that Cam has been put on IR. Juice Wells has also been released from the practice squad, and Swayze Bozeman is back after he was released from the main roster. He's now back on the practice squad as well. So
Cool.
a lot of news coming out this evening. Not used to it. Having to keep on my toes.
Breaking news, yeah. Well, obviously, any more roster moves or anything like that, we'll obviously bring you the latest on Thursday when we're back on. Aaron?
Lost for words at the start, but just to echo what we all mentioned, it was great seeing everyone that came out in Belushi's. Really enjoyed the venue, really enjoyed the crack, and just sorry for picking a game that we lost at to bring everyone together, and it couldn't have been a happier time. But hey, maybe the next one will be better. I'm not very good at picking games anyway.
No, you know what? I second that as well. Like it was a fantastic evening. Just a shame about the result, and also a shame about what sort of transpired throughout the game. You wouldn't wish that injury upon anybody, but it was just a great evening. Great to spend the evening with you guys, and everyone that was in attendance. Win or lose, Giants boost. Nice one, Steve. Yeah, it's just great to spend the evening with you guys and with plenty of other Giants fans. And for those that came from afar, from Scotland, from Belfast, from Wales, from half an hour down the road like me, it's just a massive thank you for everyone for turning up, because it meant a lot. It really did. It meant a hell of a lot to all of us to have so many people there. And to meet some new people too, so that was always cool. And even the Eagles supporters sort of added a little bit of a sort of difference of opinion. Let's put it that way. It was me and Aaron got a little bit heated with some of them at one point, but we won't go into that. But yeah, just a great night overall. And hey, look, Belushi's, hats off to you, because it's a great facility, and we'll no doubt be back there when we plan our meetups in future. As usual, check out our socials for all the latest news. Follow the links to find where we are in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like I said at the beginning. Hit the notification bell to be told when we're going live. Thank you to everyone for watching, for getting involved in the comments this evening. As usual, we appreciate the love from every single one of you. And my thanks as ever go to Craig and Aaron for joining me. We're signing off. Until next time, let's go Giants.